You know, when we think about artificial intelligence, we usually think about what's on our phones or what powers our search engines. But what if I told you its newest job title was public servant? Yeah, all around the world, governments are quietly hiring AI, and its role is becoming way bigger than you might think.
Oh, we've all been there, right? The long lines, the super confusing websites, the endless hold music, all just to ask one simple question about your taxes or a local service. It is a universal frustration.
Well, it seems like governments are finally getting the message. And their solution? It's to bring on a totally new kind of employee, one that works 24/7, never gets tired, and has instant access to pretty much all the information. Yep, they're hiring AI.
All right, so let's start with the most direct way you might actually run into one of these new digital employees, the chatbots and virtual assistants that are designed to serve you, the citizen.
And look, we're not talking about some small-scale experiments here. Just take Greece, for example. Their AI assistant, which is called MAIGOV, has already handled over 1.6 million queries from citizens. That is a massive workload being taken care of instantly, which frees up the human staff to handle the more complicated stuff.
And this is happening everywhere. I mean, Singapore has Ask Jamie for your tax and healthcare questions. Greece's MyGov, as we saw, helps people navigate over 1,000 different services. And in South Africa, GovChat helps millions with social relief and health info. The tech is pretty similar, but the goal is the same everywhere. Instant, accessible public service for everyone.
But, while most countries are treating these AIs as just helpful tools, one nation decided to give its AI a promotion. A really, really big promotion.
You heard that right. Albania's AI assistant, Della, wasn't just plugged into their e-government portal, it was given a symbolic seat at the cabinet table. Now that signals a pretty profound level of trust, and it gives us a peek into a future where AI could be woven right into the fabric of the state itself.
But AI's job in government goes way beyond just answering your questions. It's also working silently, behind the scenes, managing the very cities we all live in.
Think about it. For decades, managing a city was all about reacting to problems. We'd see a huge traffic jam and maybe send a traffic officer. We'd spot a problem and then plan a solution for, years later. The AI way is totally different. It's predictive. It uses data to see problems like gridlock before they happen and stop them in their tracks.
The core technology that makes this possible is often called a city brain, and that's a great name for it. Think of it like a digital nervous system for an entire city, constantly taking in information and making tiny adjustments in real time to keep everything running smoothly.
So, how does it actually work? Well, first, it gathers just enormous amounts of data. We're talking traffic cameras, weather sensors, public transport, you name it. Then, the AI crunches all that data, spots patterns, and predicts where the next big traffic jam is going to happen. And finally, and this is the magic part, it proactively changes traffic light timings all across the city to keep traffic flowing. This isn't science fiction. It's already happening in cities like Hangzhou and Kuala Lumpur.
And it isn't just about traffic either. Over in Finland, the city of Tampere uses a similar system to predict the flow of people. This helps them plan everything from bus schedules to where they need to deploy city services during a big festival or event.
So, okay, we've seen AI helping citizens and managing cities, but now its scope is getting even bigger. Governments are starting to use AI to tackle their most complex national challenges, everything from internal paperwork to national security.
First, let's take a look inside the government itself. In France, they've developed an AI named Albert. Now, Albert is a generative AI assistant, but here's the twist. It's not for the public. It's for the public servants. It helps them draft official documents, make sense of complex regulations. Basically, it helps speed up the internal machinery of government, all with a human still in the driver's seat.
Now, in public health, the impact is even more direct. South Korea, for example, is using AI to analyze healthcare data to forecast infectious disease outbreaks. By predicting where the next hotspot might pop up, they can get resources there ahead of time. And it's a similar story in Singapore, where they use AI to predict surges in hospital admissions, making sure they have enough beds and staff ready to go.
And the applications are just incredibly diverse. Estonia is using AI to find patterns in financial data that scream tax fraud. El Salvador is partnering with AI providers to give personalized tutoring to kids in public schools. And in the United States, AI is being integrated right into national defense.
One of these initiatives is called Project Maven. It's a Department of Defense project that uses artificial intelligence to analyze just huge amounts of imagery and intelligence data. It helps analysts identify objects and patterns much faster, leading to better operational insights.
And building on that, there's a new platform called GenAI.mil. Its job is to make generative AI tools available to millions of U.S. defense personnel, with the goal of supporting a whole wide range of operational tasks.
So, let's recap. AI is acting as a chatbot, a city manager, an administrative assistant, and a security analyst. Which brings us to the really big question. What's the master plan here? Why is this huge global shift happening right now?
Well, it really boils down to 4 key things. First, it's about improving our experience as citizens, giving us 24/7 support and cutting through all that red tape. Second, it's about making smarter decisions, using real data to manage everything from traffic to public health. Third, it's just about pure efficiency, automating routine work and catching things like tax fraud. And finally, it's about helping the government's own employees do their jobs better and faster.
From answering our simple questions, to managing our complex cities, to helping secure our nations, AI is becoming this essential but often invisible part of how we're governed. The potential for a more efficient, more responsive world is obviously immense. But as we hand over more and more of these responsibilities, the critical question we have to ask is this: how do we build the safeguards to make sure these powerful new public servants actually work for everyone fairly and transparently?